In this video, I'm going to show you how to make a bowl from a hump mold. In this case, we're going to use a wooden bowl, so I'll need to put a piece of fabric between the bowl and the clay to keep the clay from sticking. I'm using a piece of clay that is about 3/8 of an inch thick. I'm going to gently drape the clay over the form and let it fall around the curve. It's going to take a little bit of encouragement because you're taking something that's flat and making it into a curved surface. So spend some time really pushing it around the form and allowing it to stretch gently without getting thin spots. I like to put an object under the mold so that way the edges can drape freely over the sides. This will help create a better edge surface on the rim of the bowl. We're going to trim the excess clay from the sides of our mold by inserting a fettling knife at the edge of the mold. It's easiest to turn the mold and the clay instead of moving your hand with the fettling knife. You will still have some cleanup to do with this method, but it's a good way to remove the excess clay. Just to make sure that you're putting your fettling knife in straight to the side instead of at an angle. Otherwise, your bowl will have a bevel and the rim will be weak. I'm going to center the mold on the banding wheel and then gently turn it so I can make a small mark where I would like the foot ring to go. Now I'm going to add some slip to the clay. This is very important. You always want to slip and score when you're joining two pieces of clay together. Otherwise, they will not stick and your piece will fall apart. Be sure you make slip from the clay that you are currently working with so that it has the best chance of adhering together. Now that I have applied slip to my bowl, I'm going to use the serrated rib to score the surface. It's important to slip first and then score so you can work the slip into the clay body. I've made a small coil for the foot and put some score marks on the underside. When I apply it to the bowl, I'm going to push down and apply some pressure so that it attaches evenly and securely. I'm also going to score at the base of the foot where it connects to the bowl. This is a weak spot and it's easy for things to crack right there, so I want to make sure that's joined really well. So I make my little score marks. You can use your needle tool or a sharp wooden tool, and then I'm going to smear it together. You can also use a very small coil around in that seam and push it in there so it becomes invisible. And that will make it super strong and very durable. I'm going to smooth this out by just barely wetting my fingers with water. And this allows me to push the clay around and allows my fingers to glide over the surface. This will make it seem like it's very smooth and really push out any of the rough edges. However, water is your frenemy, so it's helpful in some instances, but if I were to put too much water on this piece, it would completely fall apart. The last thing I'm going to do is use my ribs to smooth out the surface. This is a cosmetic application, but it also really helps strengthen the pot. So if you're gentle and you get in there and smooth it all out, it's going to compress the clay and become much more durable. At this point, the basic form is complete and I can remove the mold from the inside. However, it's really too soft to do anything else to it, and if I try to do too much, it's going to misshapen it. So I'm just going to leave it covered overnight and let it dry out slowly and then come back tomorrow once it's leather hard and work on the rim. Leather hard clay is a stage where the clay has dried a little bit. It might want to crack if you try to push it and bend it too much, but it's a great time to start slicing it. And leather is a little hard to relate to. Sometimes a better analogy would be like a hard cheese, so that your knife slices through it cleanly and evenly. The final thing I'm going to do to this bowl is just really work it with my fingers and compress the rim. I'm not looking for something that looks machine made. I like for the things that I make to look handmade. So I'm pinching the top of it to create a few irregularities while smoothing away any evidence that the top was cut with a knife. And finally, I'll pay special attention to the inside of the bowl and make sure that it's nice and smooth. I like to use my ribs for this. Your metal rib or your wooden rib or any of the plastic ribs will work really well. Once this is finished, I'm going to let it dry slowly so that it becomes bone dry, and then we can bisque fire.